Good morning and welcome to News Breakfast. It's Monday. It's great to have your company. I'm Michael Rowland.
And I'm Virginia Trioli. Glad you could join us today. Making news this morning. Battle lines drawn between Russia and the West over Ukraine.
There is a huge price to pay. The United States is united. Russia is isolated. That is not a position of strength.
Federal Cabinet to discuss offering a helping hand to Qantas.
Also ahead, Cate Blanchett is the unbackable Oscar favourite.
Nightmares and a nervous breakdown. There's only so many traumas a person can withstand till they take to the streets and start screaming.
I'm ridiculously happy. I mean, you don't do these things to arrive at this place.
We speak to the Australian actress just hours away from the Oscars ceremony.
And leading sport this morning, an unbeaten Michael Clarke-Tunn strengthens Australia's position against South Africa in Cape Town.
And as warmer weather extends across the south, preparations are underway for a possible cyclone in Queensland.
Let's look at the newspapers now, and the Ukraine crisis dominates the front pages of the major newspapers today. Prime Minister Tony Abbott has joined world leaders in warning the Russian President Vladimir Putin against military intervention in Ukraine. That's in the Sydney Morning Herald.
The Financial Review says US President Barack Obama spent 90 minutes on the phone with Mr Putin, but the Russian president maintains there is a real threat to the lives and health of Russian citizens.
The Australian says Russia's refusal to withdraw troops has put it and the US on the brink of this explosive confrontation since the end of the Cold War.
The Guardian Australia focuses on that warning by US Secretary of State John Kerry that Russia faces economic sanctions and even expulsion from the G8 unless the aggression stops.
In other stories, the Courier Mail reveals some of the security measures being planned for November's G20 meeting in Brisbane. The measures include patrols of Mount Cootha, the city's highest peak.
The Age reports on how Victorian Premier Denis Napthine has taken a big political blow over a party pre-selection battle. His endorsement for the safe seat of Kew, Senior Minister Mary Wooldridge, has failed to win.
The peak builder's body in the ACT says an independent inquiry is the only way to rid the capital of the rotten apples, ripping off homeowners, suppliers and tradies. That's on the front page of the Canberra Times.
In the West Australian, doctors have expressed concern about the growing popularity of Salbutamol, a drug that promotes weight loss. 4 people have been admitted to hospital after using that drug this year.
Formula One boss Bernie Ecclestone tells the Herald Sun a new deal to keep the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne is as good as done.
From Tasmania to the top of the world in Colombia, the Mercury covers cyclist Amy Kure's World Championship title.
The Advertiser has more on the coming tour of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. While in Adelaide, they'll spend time touring music studios, visiting a teenage centre and watching a skateboard display.
The royal family will also head to the Red Centre with a visit to Uluru. The Northern Territory News proudly has those details.
And the Daily Telegraph looks ahead to Cate Blanchett's Oscar hopes. As we've been discussing, she's the hot favourite to win Best Actress at the 86th Academy Awards. Now, as the song goes, of course, it never rains in California, and it hasn't for quite some time. They've been in the grip of one of the worst droughts.
Yeah.
I think possibly the worst on record, actually, for California. Well, over the last couple of days, there have been storms and floods across California, just in time for the Oscar.
Good morning, and we are into the first week of autumn. A monsoon trough will generate widespread rain and thunderstorms across the tropics, and we have a weak low that is also developing over the Timor Sea. Over the next couple of days, the chance of it becoming a cyclone a low, but if we have it look at the waters over the Coral Sea, and we've got another low, and that's more favourable as it moves around the Solomon Islands. It could develop into a cyclone midweek, reaching Queensland, possibly between Cooktown and Townsville. And over in Western Australia, a deep trough is making its way inland. We've got quite a few highs around, and this is starting to spread the warmer weather across mainly to South Australia, but also into the south. And a cold front will follow on Wednesday. It will cross through the Bight tomorrow. For Queensland today and in Brisbane, you might get a shower or two, heading for a top of 28 degrees. We will have showers around most of the east coast and inland areas. Scattered showers and storms to the west of Charleville, and fresh and gusty winds for the east coast between Cardwell and Double Point Island. In New South Wales, isolated showers in the north, the chance of thunderstorms in the northwest, Apart from possible showers near the south coast, it will be a fine day for the rest of the state. 25 degrees in Sydney. In Victoria, areas of smoke persisting around Gippsland. Any drizzle around the Gippsland coast will clear to a mostly fine day and warmer east to northeasterly winds. 27 degrees in Melbourne. Also mostly fine for Tasmania. Apart from patchy drizzle about the north and central east coast, it will be fine with light winds and afternoon coastal sea breezes. South Australia, afternoon and evening thunderstorms for the northeastern Flinders. A warmer day for those along the southern coast, a top of 32 degrees in Adelaide. In Western Australia, areas of morning drizzle along the south coast west of about Hopeton, redeveloping about the southeast coast this evening. And again, we have severe fire conditions and fresh sea breezes along the Gascoyne coast. Showers and thunderstorms in the North Kimberley and across the Territories north. There will be heavy at times over the southern Darwin, Daly and also northern River districts, a top of 32 degrees in Darwin. Around the nation for tomorrow, more showers for Brisbane, partly cloudy in Hobart and Sydney, but a mostly sunny day in Canberra, heading for a top of 28 degrees.
In the news, Russia and the West appear to be on a collision course over Ukraine. NATO has been holding an emergency meeting and says Russia's military activities in Crimea are threatening peace and security in Europe. US Secretary of State John Kerry has warned Russia could even be ejected from the Group of 8 developed nations. Unions are calling on the federal government to grant Qantas a debt guarantee ahead of a cabinet meeting in Canberra. Federal ministers will meet tonight to discuss possible assistance for the ailing airline. The Prime Minister, Tony Abbott, has all but ruled out offering a debt guarantee. Many Morwell residents are calling for the Victorian town to be evacuated. Residents in Morwell South have already been advised to leave. Anger boiled over at a packed community meeting yesterday over the coal fire that's been burning there now for more than 3 weeks. Kensington Palace has released details of the forthcoming royal tour. Prince William and his wife Kate, as well as their son Prince George, will visit Australia and New Zealand for 3 weeks in April. Their trip will include a visit to Sydney's Taronga Park Zoo, where the Bilby enclosure will be named after the young prince. And the red carpet's been rolled out in Hollywood and the Oscars are now just hours away. 5 Australians are in the running for an Academy Award. Cate Blanchett is a hot tip for Best Actress for her role in Woody Allen's film Blue Jasmine.